Welcome to CRNC The Heat. In this hour, we'll be full of the night's sports show. It has been a while since we have been on air. It's been about 5 or 6 months. The last time we were on air, we were talking about March Madness and the selection show. By the way, if you've been living under a rock for the past 5 months, Villanova took home the crown in the men's basketball championship, as well as the Washington Capitals are Stanley Cup champions. Wow. And the Golden State Warriors are NBA championships. Just giving you a bit of a heads up what's been going on in the sports world in the past little while. But what else has been going on? A lot of stuff. And a lot of stuff is coming up. And we're going to talk about a lot of stuff in the hockey world.
John Tavares is a Maple Leaf.
John Tavares is a Maple Leaf. Have you heard my partner Mark Vanderlucht say, and it'll be
bonjour, everybody.
Just Mark and I tonight. Caleb and Alex are going to take the night off. They're in their sports event. They're playing an intramural soccer game at Brock University. I know, pathetic that they couldn't be on the show, but that's okay. Mark and I will take it from here. So what we're going to be doing is just talking about hockey and talking about a lot of the Atlantic Division, as Mark and I are both massive Leaf fans, as you heard by the John Tavares comment. And we're going to start off with the Maple Leafs, and Mark really did get into that. I just want to talk about a couple of the additions and departures. A big addition
is Josh Joris. Another one, Jordan Subban.
Jordan Subban. Tyler Ennis is a Maple Leaf. But obviously the big one is John Tavares signing a massive 7-year, $77 million contract to join his hometown team, the Toronto Maple Leafs. We've lost a couple big pieces, JVR, Tyler Bozak, Thomas Plekanec, Leo Komarov, and Roman Polak.
Big piece. In quotation marks right there. Big
That's
piece.
Right. Roman Polak, another departure.
Big piece.
Mark and I were ecstatic to hear that Polak was not coming back on a PTO.
You know what? I think I might have been happier that Polak left the Leafs than we got Tavares.
That's right. That's right. But just a recap, a very brief recap of the Leafs season last year. They had the 7th best record in the NHL, 49 wins, 26 losses, and 7 overtime losses, eventually losing to the Boston Bruins in Game 7.
Don't say it.
Of the playoffs.
Oh.
And Jake Gardiner is infamously now known for his contribution in that third period
to the Boston Bruins.
To the Boston Bruins. They were up 4-3 heading into the third period.
Oh,
and they lost 7-4.
You just gotta go there, eh? Wow.
Goals for, they actually did very well. 277 goals for, second.
Well, yeah, of course.
Just behind the Tampa Bay Lightning. Goals against, middle of the pack, 232, 12th ranked, thanks largely in part to the goaltending of Frederik Andersen. Their power play right on the 25% mark, very impressive, and it can only get better with the addition of John Tavares, losing a power play guy in James Van Riemsdyk. But when you add John Tavares, you're doing something right.
And they didn't trade for him; they signed him, so they didn't
lose anybody.
The only assets they spent were on money, right? Normally, when you trade for a guy who is of franchise caliber, because Tavares is
absolutely.
Normally, you have to trade for him, because what team lets the franchise player go for nothing?
The New York Islanders.
Man, those fans are so salty, and I love it. I can't get enough of it. Oh man, I got some chips at home I could use their salt for. Right? Like it's just keep bringing it. Keep bringing the salt.
That's right.
Keep on bringing it. You know, and then the one crazy thing about that is those fans, they're comparing their team to Vegas. Oh yeah, Vegas had a team of unknown players and they made the Stanley Cup final. We got Leo Komarov, Matt Martin, Cal Clutterbuck.
Great impersonation, by the way, of any New York Islander fan.
Of all of that fan base combined. No, it's just you have 3 guys whose only job is to hit people. Are you kidding me? Komarov was below replacement level last season. Below replacement level.
At least they kept their number 1 defenseman. Wait a minute.
Wait a sec.
They lost their number 1 center. They lost their number 1 defenseman. They added a number 1 goalie in Robin Lehner. it's going to be.
I'm trying so hard not to laugh.
It's going to be a dark few years for the New York Islanders. They have pieces. They have Josh
Barzal,
Barzal, they have Anders Lee, they have Matt Barzal. They have pieces, but it's not enough.
No.
It is not
well,
enough.
they have a bottom 9 and then one decent line.
Right.
Like, Andrew Ladd is not good. And that contract they have him signed to is
not good.
Woo! That's bad. That's stanky. It's not good. But anyways.
We're going back to the Leafs. Another big headline in the Leafs is obviously John Tavares signing, but William Nylander is not signed. And Mark, you and I were talking about this on our long ride from Burlington, but honestly, you said he's dead to you. You don't care.
No,
I don't know if you meant that personally. I would rather have him than not have him on my team.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But he is making this go on a little longer than I hoped. It's not uncommon for this to happen. Maybe it's going a little later than the Leafs fans would have liked, but it's still $1 million apart, as what I'm hearing. Nylander wants somewhere in the $8 million range. I think Leafs management wants in the $6.5 million range, and that's kind of what you were saying, Mark.
No, well, like when you see those numbers come out from the news outlets, from TSN and Twitter and wherever, like, you got to take those numbers with a grain of salt, right? Like, management is always talking to Nylander. How often? I can't say, obviously, because I'm not in management. I wouldn't be talking on the radio right now if I was.
Maybe you would be. They're always having guest appearances, but
anyways, like, you got to take those numbers that he wants, supposedly, and that management is offering with a grain of salt. And then you got to take those numbers, and then you got to find comparables and try and figure out where management's coming from and where Nylander's coming from. Because with Nylander, he wants $8 million.
So that's coming from a Leon Draisaitl perspective, saying, "Hey, I can do what Draisaitl's doing in Edmonton." But management maybe is coming from a David Pastrnak perspective, where he's getting $6.5, and maybe you're not at the Pastrnak level. So it really is a fine line, I'm thinking right now, because Pasternak's making 6.666 whatever, but he's making $720,000 less than the most expensive player on the Boston Bruins. While the most expensive player on the Leafs is currently John Tavares, it very well could be Matthews in the foreseeable future. So Nylander thinks he wants to be a part of that core group, and he's going to be making under like $5 million less.
Which it's confusing to think why he wants to be from his side it makes sense why he wants to be paid like a core player, but he's a winger. Wingers are a dime a dozen. We've seen it in the playoffs, literally, with Kapanen and Janssen. When Komarov was taken out of the lineup, the Leafs got better. They got better. In the
preseason right now, Tyler Ennis is doing a great job of filling his shoes. Matthews is not missing a beat.
This is what I'm saying. I was literally about to say that as well. Ennis is doing a good job. He's gritty. When he keeps skating, he's a good player. He's got skill, he's got vision, he's got passing, but the only thing that holds him back is the concussions. But regardless of that, we're talking Nylander right now. I think Nylander is overstepping his bounds by asking for $8 million. It makes sense. Like, he's looking out for his future and he's looking out for himself, and I think that $8 million is coming from his dad, because his dad has a history of holding out. Same with his agent too. His agent, you want to know who his agent is client for?
I'm trying to think of somebody who's been holding out in the past.
Johnny Gaudreau.
Oh, okay.
What did Johnny Gaudreau do when his contract was up? Hold out. Very funny.
So how long did it take Johnny Gaudreau? I don't know if you have the numbers on you right now.
Well, it took him to the season.
Did it?
Yep. But there was an article recently written by Ian Tulloch from The Athletic that says the longer Nylander holds out, the worse it benefits him, because the history is not on his side anymore. He has no leverage. He's just simply saying no to each contract offer, and he's saying, this is $8 million. That's what I want. You are offering $6 million. That's not enough.
And it can't help that he's missing training camp.
Nope. It was so funny because I saw on Instagram he posted a photo of himself doing some off-ice training, some dry land training.
Okay.
And there's a comment that said, "Boy, if you don't sign that contract soon, you'll be doing dry land training for the rest of your career." Which is just like, it's funny though, right? Right. But it's serious, right? Well, it's used in a funny tone, but it's kind of like, William, Bill, come on, what are you doing, right? Because Nylander, he's an interchangeable player with a roster. Sure, he's a zone entry god. He's a machine when he's transporting the puck. He's a great player, but he's playing with Matthews. He himself is not driving the line. He's got Matthews. Matthews is Matthews. We know what he does. There's no questions about his game. Nylander goes invisible in games. He's not a very physical player. He's a perimeter player. He needs good players to put up points. Sure, he's a great player. He's skilled. He can help produce points on a line, but he doesn't drive a line. Marner does. Matthews does. Nylander does not. So I don't understand why Nylander's asking for 8. I get it that the cap is going to rise each year, but we're in the now. We're not next year and 5 years from now. We're now.
And Nylander has said he's not looking for a bridge deal. He says he wants minimum 4 years.
Well, that's fine because management, I'm sure, doesn't want a bridge deal either.
Absolutely.
Because we got 2 more pretty well-known guys that need contracts in next year. Next year, those 2 guys need contracts. Right? Don't sign a 1 year. No one wants you to. No one does.
He doesn't.
He doesn't. I guarantee Kyle Dubas now is getting a little nervous. Because the shorter term Nylander goes, the more nervous I would be. Because we still have we still have Kapanen, Janssen, Grundstrom as well. And then there's Dermott there, right? And then you get to the other prospects like Sandin and Liljegren, but that's not for a few years. But still, it's just like, be a team player. Why are you being so greedy about this? Right? Like there's a salary cap. Michael Nylander did not play in the salary cap era. He did for a few years, but when he was 35. So it didn't matter at that point. He had already made his money. He was still a good player, but he'd made his money. He was almost a non-factor to the salary cap. Right? He didn't play in the salary cap era for the majority of his career. He was a great player, a heck of a player. Right? But that's what I'm saying, though. It's just like, Nylander, you got to realize that, sure, salary cap's rising, but you got 2 buddies here that if you take as much money as you possibly can get, realistically, you're most likely going to get traded. Because the Leafs' weakness is defense. Right? Nylander's expendable. I'm not saying the Leafs are going to go out and try and look for a trade, but if a team says, hey, we like Nylander, and we have a few blue chip defense that are available, want to make a trade? Dubas is going to be all ears, because that salary cap is a headache. No matter how good of a job Brandon Pridham can do, he's got to be real nervous about this. Because Matthews, he's going to ask for a number. He's going to get it. He's the franchise centerman. There's no disputing it. John Tavares is a franchise centerman, but he's not our franchise centerman. Matthews was drafted here. He's being developed here. He's playing here. Tavares is too, but he wasn't drafted and developed here. You know what I mean? So it's just like Nylander he could really be traded. And to me, I wouldn't lose a single night's sleep over it. It's frustrating why he's doing this. It's really frustrating. I'm not going to say he's dead to me, but...
You already said it.
He's dead to me. No. No, but it's just it's really funny that he's done this though. But whatever.
I really hope Matthews and Marner don't do this.
I mean, it would make more I would be okay if they did. I wouldn't be surprised, right? But we both get a sense of where they're going to ask.
Yeah.
And they're worth it though. Because Nylander, his first stint in the NHL, he played about 20-ish games, put up 13-ish points, I think. Second season, rookie season, puts up 61. That's pretty good. But his third season, 61 points. Where's the growth? What did he do? Good. You put up 61 points again. But did you improve? I'm sure his defensive game improved. But when you play in the NHL for extended periods, how does your game not improve? Right? Like, you've stayed in the NHL for a reason. Because you're good enough to play in the NHL. Like, you look at Marner and Matthews. Matthews is a point-a-game centerman. That's improving. Rookie season, 69 points. Nice. Someone had to do it. But Marner had 61 points his rookie season. He didn't have a 20-game stint. He had a rookie season stint. And he put up 61 points. His rookie season. Nylander did not do that. He would not have been able to do that the season before. You look at that lineup that Nylander was playing with. Komarov, I think. It doesn't matter. He was playing with just nobodies. I don't know why I'm getting a blank.
Well, he would have had
Mike Santorelli was on that team. It's just like nobodies were on that team. But then, so then back to my point about Marner. He had 61 points. His second season, 69. Right? He improved. And then in the playoffs, Marner was pretty good. He did well. Right? Matthews improved. Marner improved. Nylander did not. And he's a winger. Marner's a winger, sure, okay? But he's more vital to the team than Nylander is. Sure, you're not going to be able to find Nylanders wherever you go in a draft. They're pretty hard to find. But it's not as big of a loss as Matthews or Marner. Right? That's all I'm saying. So...
Will it get done by the season?
No.
It won't.
No. I find that hilarious, though, because with each game the Leafs win, I bet he gets more nervous in saying, hey, agent, maybe I should accept a deal. And his agent's like, no, shut up, William. Shut up. Don't talk to Kyle. Don't. Because, I guarantee... After Tyler Ennis's first game against the Senators, when he scored, I bet Kyle was sitting at his desk, phone rings. He has no caller ID. Picks up the phone. First thing he hears, hey Kyle, how you doing? It's William. I have something to talk to you about. Click. Done. Because that click is Kyle hanging up the phone. Don't want to even talk to you. I got Ennis now. No, I it's not like that at all, but that's what I would do. Right? It's just like, oh, hey, William, how's it going? Do anything lately? I don't know. write anything? Sign anything? No? That's weird. Don't really need you anymore. We got Ennis. I'm not trying to slight Ennis. I'm just saying Leafs, they don't need Nylander. Nylander needs the Leafs. The Leafs do not need Nylander. That's all I'm saying.
All right.
So anyways.
All right, so back to the Leafs talk. Do you think, so the Leafs finished third place in the Atlantic behind the Boston Bruins and the Eastern Conference winning Tampa Bay Lightning. So do you see the Leafs improving over the Boston Bruins and the Tampa Bay Lightning? I think it's safe to say that they can surpass Boston with the lineup they have.
Yeah, because Jake DeBrusk is a good player for Boston.
Boston has good players.
Yeah, they got good players.
Marchand, Pasternak,
yeah.
Krejci, and they
Krug.
have Krug,
McAvoy's good.
McAvoy. Yeah, so we can go on and on about the players that Boston have.
Boston's going to be in the top 3. I
think the top 3 is pretty much set.
It is set. Like there's
Florida can nibble, but they're not going to do anything.
They're not doing it.
They're pushing for a wild card spot.
The best that Florida's going to do is nibble because they got Luongo and Reimer. Like
an aging Luongo and a
as Leaf fans,
Reimer.
We know what Reimer is, man. We know.
We've been there.
We're the OGs. Yeah. But the top 3 set. It's just a matter of who's going to finish where. That's the only questions. Because Tampa Bay is still Tampa Bay. They didn't lose anyone significant. They just struck out on Erik Karlsson. That's their only loss of the offseason. Right? They still got Stamkos, they got Kucherov, they got Hedman, they got Vasilevsky as their pillars on the team. They got Andre Palat, they got
They got
Braden Point.
They got Braden Point. They didn't add anybody. Yanni Gourde is another great player.
Yep.
The only players they lost were fourth liners and backup defensemen. They lost Chris Kunitz.
Yeah, exactly.
They lost Andre Schuster and they lost Jake Dotchin.
Jake Dotchin's a piece of garbage, though.
That's
an addition by subtraction.
He got terminated from his contract because he showed up to camp 35 pounds overweight.
Get in my belly.
How do you gain 35 pounds in 3 months? What were you eating? Your family?
I want my baby back ribs.
So
it's impressive though. Like
the NHLPA is currently appealing the termination because they feel like gaining weight is not a good enough reason for contract termination.
Hey, don't discriminate against our fat friend. He's just a nice guy. He means well.
But it's not like Jake Dotchin is a player that Tampa Bay needs.
No, they don't. The NHL doesn't need that either.
He's a dirty player.
He's a genuine scumbag. Like he's actually not good enough to hold down an NHL job either. Right? Like, you look at a guy like Brad Marchand, it's okay why he's in the NHL. He scores on top of
90 points.
Exactly. Like, he has a second, like, his primary job is to put the puck in the net, and then he can give you a face wash. And then he can back that up with putting the puck in the net again.
And then he'll lick you.
Yeah. I don't understand that one. That one really, like, Callahan's face is sweaty, man. That's disgusting. That's gross. You don't do that. You don't, like, sweat and beard hair. It's just, why would you do that? Like, I think his tongue actually went inside Callahan's mouth.
All right, we're getting a little
off
track.
Besides that, like, you look at Jake Dotchin. What does he bring to the NHL other than a knee-to-the-knee contact? A goal scoring? He's a defenseman. Defensemen don't score goals. Well, offensive ones do. But they're not forwards, right? So they don't score as many goals. Does he bring power play structure? No. He sucks. He's an idiot. He's a meathead. He just brings a knee-on-knee hit, right? Like, I bet in one of the practices for training camp, he probably tried to knee-on-knee hit Stamkos. And John Cooper was like, hey, Dotchin, we want to speak to you in the office. Take your equipment off. We got something to ask you.
All right, with that, we're going to take a quick breather. We've covered the Leafs. We covered a little bit of the Lightning. We'll be back right after this with more NHL talk, Senators, Canadians, and Sabres, all to come in the next few minutes. This has been the Night Sports Show. We hope to see you tune in the next couple minutes. Welcome back to the Knights Sports Show. Zach and Mark behind the mic here at Niagara College, Welland campus. We just talked a little bit about the Maple Leafs, mostly about William Nylander. We talked briefly about the Tampa Bay Lightning, a lot about Jake Dotchin and their, I guess, Jake Dotchin's unfortunate weight gain.
It's impressive.
35 pounds.
In 4 months?
In 4 months is not something to be proud of. But anyways, we're going to keep on talking about the NHL. And one team that I really want to talk to you about is the Ottawa Senators. And they obviously had a couple departures, I'm going to say. They lost a guy named Mike Hoffman. They also lost a guy named Erik Karlsson. And they didn't get a whole lot back. They got a lot of draft picks from San Jose. They also traded Hoffman to San Jose, eventually getting flipped 2 hours later to Florida. But it's been a bad offseason for Ottawa.
That's a huge understatement. Like, they traded Karlsson for peanuts.
Yeah.
They purposefully traded Hoffman out of the Atlantic
to try and keep Karlsson in. No, they tried to keep Karlsson in the team.
No.
The Hoffman Karlsson wife's, I don't know what you want to call it.
No, okay, but with that though, like they it wasn't even. I wasn't even going to be talking about that, but now that we can. I was just going to say that like they tried to trade Hoffman to keep him out of the Atlantic so he wouldn't come back. He gets traded to San Jose.
Flipped right back to the Atlantic.
Flipped to Florida. Pierre, you didn't think that one through. Well, because like it's just for what they traded him for. I think it was Mikkel Bodker, Julius Bergman, and what, a 6th round pick?
Yeah.
Who is Julius Bergman? Like, he's going to be nobody. And then Mikkel Bodker is borderline replacement level player. And then a 6th round pick, chances are you will not get another Mike Hoffman with that 6th round pick. So they've immediately lost that trade. Because his allegedly the story, I don't know. There's always, in my opinion, 3 sides to a story. His side, Karlsson's side, and then the truth, right? Like, I don't know. You can't just say, oh, Hoffman's girlfriend is cyberbullying. No, that's like I could say right now, Zach has been cheating on his exams. Right now, I could say that. And then, oh, okay, you get expelled from the school. But then you get put into another school or something. That's a bit of a stretch example.
It's a weird metaphor, but okay.
But that's what I'm saying, though, okay? Anyways, with Hoffman getting traded for peanuts, that's a hole in the lineup that you have to cover, right? Because there's 12 forward positions. And then you don't have to play 12. You can play 11, which I don't know why the Senators would play 11.
Because their defense is so strong.
Cody Ceci. Woo woo.
Thomas Chabot.
Chris Weidman. Oh my gosh.
Is Borwecki still on their team?
Yes. Okay. Now let's get to that now. Did you see that video of Pierre Dorian interviewing Borwecki?
No.
You didn't? It was so awkward.
Pierre, what's the number one thing you're
No, I didn't.
Borwecki was literally just asking Pierre Dorian about what the team's plans were. And it was just cringeworthy the whole time.
You know what else is cringeworthy? I want to see if I can play a clip.
Yep.
optimistic about in terms of the Ottawa Senators?
We're a team.
Well, replay that.
Did you get it?
I got the last second of it, but
Pierre, what's the number one thing you're optimistic about in terms of the Ottawa Senators?
pause.
We're a team.
We're a team.
Oops. Pierre, you messed up.
Hey, thanks, Pierre. Back to you, Ron. Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to see you again.
So, Ottawa Senators fans, I don't know how many of you there are listening to this podcast. It's not really up on its feet at this point. But anyways, Ottawa Senators fans, it's not looking good.
Like, how can... Like, my question for Pierre is, you guys are rebuilding. And he's, in his press conferences, he said that a lot. So, when you say... we're a team. Well, you sound like an idiot because how did you not expect that question? How did you not expect that question? Your team is going through a huge transition right now. You literally traded your best player on your team. And you don't have a first-round pick. You don't have your own first-round pick. It's in Colorado. And you know who's going to be first overall this draft? Jack Hughes.
They're having
Holy
comparisons.
crap.
They're having comparisons to the 2003 draft.
Oh, my gosh. Jack Hughes, man. Jack freaking Hughes. Are you kidding? You trade your first... Oh, my goodness. And it's not lottery protected. Pierre, you don't do that. You don't do that.
We were one goal away from the Stanley Cup Finals.
Oh, that's good. That's great. That's gravy. What's your team doing now? What are they doing? Where's your defenseman? He's in California, surfing it up. Where's your team? Where's your team, buddy? Like, what happened to them? Like, we're a team. Hey, Pierre. How much am I gonna have to pay for that house? I'm looking to buy a house right now. You'll have to pay some money. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it. Hey, Pierre. Could you? I don't know. I'm kind of short on money. How much money do you think you could give me? Here's some money. Money. It's just like, hey,
he's not a smart guy.
Hey, Pierre, what do you want for dinner? Food. It's like, thanks, Pierre. How you doing? Hey,
But, okay.
I just heard that your wife just had a kid. Thanks. It's just like,
Okay, I want your perspective. Are you optimistic in any way for the Senators? Is
No.
there any optimism there?
well, okay. No. The players that they got back from Carlson are just bad. They're bad.
Dylan DeMello, Chris Tierney.
Well, Tierney's like, he's a middle six centerman. How do you... Oh, man. Like, it's Carlson. He's a point-per-game defenseman. And it's not like he's 35. He's like 27. He's in his prime. Now he's playing with Burns. Pavelski. You're kidding.
He likely won't be playing with Burns,
Oh.
but San Jose can
On the
have
power
one of
play,
the other.
maybe. Like,
one of either Carlson or Burns will be on the ice for San Jose. If you're in the Pacific Division, I'm scared, man.
Terrified.
I'm
terrified.
I request for a trade. Get me out of this division ASAP.
Well, like...
Even Pacioretty, a good winger, got traded to the Pacific Division. That's a good... I thought the Central was a good division. I think the Pacific.
The Oilers are in the
a good
Pacific, right?
Oilers. Vancouver is unfortunately
They're screwed.
They're screwed.
Yeah. Like,
And
San Jose is going to remain at the top there, or near the top. I don't know if they will get the top of that division, but like,
I
have
think
the
it's hard to
Kings
bet
in
against
there.
San Jose.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's incredibly hard to bet against. Well, you can't. Well, I don't know. But, like,
so obviously Vegas went to the Stanley Cup final. They're a pretty good team in the Pacific Division as well.
Like, I'm going to pull up San Jose's roster right now. Like, their forwards are Couture, Pavelski, and then Joe Thornton and Evander Kane. Evander Kane's a pretty good forward.
He's a very good forward, yeah.
Joe Thornton knows where to put the puck. He's not fast, but he's a good playmaker.
And in Joe Thornton's mind, where to put the puck is on Couture's stick, is on Pavelski's stick.
On Kane's stick.
It's not in the back of the net. It's on somebody's stick. He gets a lot of apples.
And then they got another guy like Kevin Labanc, who's all right. He's a good depth scorer. But then their defense, man. Brent Burns, Carlson, Justin Braun, Edward Vlasic. Come on. And then their goaltending is Martin Jones, who is a very good goalie. They're making the playoffs as long as they stay healthy. They're making the playoffs. They're a guarantee. Obviously, the question is, how far do they go? But anyways, we're getting a little sidetracked with the Sharks. We got to go back to the.
All right, so you briefly talked about the Senators. I want to talk about the Buffalo Sabres, kind of the other hometown team. They had a bad season last year, 31st in the NHL. Got that first overall pick. Got a guy named Rasmus Dahlin. They missed out on the McDavid sweepstakes.
Fallen for Dahlin.
Yeah.
But okay, so when I look at the Sabres, they're a good team besides the goaltending. The goaltending is going to continue to be their weak point until they can find one.
Arguably the best backup of last year of Carter Hutton.
Yeah,
who
but
nearly
he's a
stole
backup,
St. Louis's starting job.
Yeah,
he had a 9.31 save percentage. That's a great save percentage.
But you stick him in net for 60 games, and how is that save percentage going to hold up?
I don't know how many. He played probably 30 games. I don't know. I have the exact numbers on me right now.
He's a glorified backup.
I think
he's never proven that he's a starter.
Mediocre. I think he can be a starting goaltender.
I don't know. Like, maybe. I wouldn't put it against him. Like, their forwards are good, though. They got Casey Middlestat.
I don't understand why they traded O'Reilly.
Yeah. Well, I think that was for the cap. I think.
Maybe. But who did they need to get rid of that cap? I don't know if
they're saving for Dahlin's new contract, I guess. I don't know. Because
I don't understand it.
Let's look at their forwards, though. They got Jack Eichel, who we know as a very good centerman. Casey Middlestat, who is being projected to get 60 points this year. I think that's a little high.
He hasn't proven himself in the NHL by any means.
But he's got potential. He's a good player. And then Sam Reinhart, I think, unfortunately, he's a better player on the wing, which it's too bad for where he was drafted, number 2 overall, right, as a centerman. But him on center just hasn't worked out.
Right.
Him on the wing has.
Yeah.
And which I guess it's okay because their center options, they got Berglund, Middlestat, and Eichel, which when Middlestat fully develops into that top-line centerman that they need, they're going to be okay. Because then they have Reinhart on the wing. They got Skinner on the wing. They got Connor Sheary, who had a bit of he did have a very rough year last year. But if he can bounce back, the Sabres offensively are going to look just as good as last year. Offensively, they're fine. It's keeping the goals out, in which they have Ristolainen, they got Dahlin, they got Marco Scandella, who's all right. But having Dahlin and Ristolainen as their 2 big blue chip defensemen on their blue line is going to be huge for them.
I want to actually backtrack because you said the Sabres are pretty good at putting the puck in the net. They were the only team not to score 200 goals. They got 31st in goals for last year. Their one area of their mediocrity is power play was 20th. And that was just under 20%.
Okay, so I take that back, and I apologize for being misinformed. But I will say this then. Their future offense is going to be very good.
Their forwards are young. Their core forwards are young. Their core defense is young.
Yeah.
And now
they got Tage Thompson, who's a big guy.
Yeah.
He's going to be okay. I think he's going to be a good middle 6 winger with some second line potential. right? He's not going to be quite a first-line guy. His speed isn't good, seeing as he's 6'5" or 6'6".
He got in a scrap last night. I don't know. I think it was with Nielsen of the Leafs.
Yeah, that's a heavyweight brawl.
Yeah,
that'd be fun to watch. But yeah, like their core forwards are young. Nylander needs to show that he's developing. I'm not quite satisfied with him being a supposed blue chip prospect. Like he's got skill, but he hasn't developed as quickly as I'm sure as some Sabres fans would have hoped. Right. Because you look at the other team in the Atlantic with William, he was good right away. He obviously took a few seasons to develop, but I think Sabres fans are probably getting a little disappointed on Nylander now. Alex Nylander.
Right.
But yeah, like they're a young team. Their offense is going to get good.
Do you predict that they're gonna try and go for a playoff spot, or they're still,
they have to.
Away?
No, they're gonna go for a playoff spot. If they weren't going for a playoff spot, they wouldn't have gone for Sherry or Skinner.
But they traded O'Reilly.
Yeah,
I don't, and I'll keep on going back to that. I don't understand it, but
I think that was for cap space, potentially for Sam Reinhart, because I think the contract situation for Berglund, I'm not sure what it is. Same with Sabatka too. They have Sabatka and Berglund.
I think they got them. I don't know if they got them both from the O'Reilly trade or just.
No, they got them both.
They got them both.
Yeah, along with Tage Thompson.
Yeah.
So, anyways, on to
Montreal Canadiens. That's a dumpster fire as well.
Yikes. That's ugly.
Okay, first, before we go into the in-depth, Max Domi got suspended for the preseason for his sucker punch. Some would call it not call it a sucker punch. Aaron Ekblad was well aware that a punch was coming, in my opinion. But he got suspended 5 games, the remainder of the preseason at the time. He's not going to lose any money because it's preseason. He's not going to lose any regular season games. So a lot of people are disappointed with the league's action in the Max Domi incident, we'll call it.
I think that there's two extremes on this side. Max Domi should have realized that he's in preseason. He's not in the regular season. It's nice to see for the Montreal Canadiens fans that Domi won't back down, but the fans already knew he wasn't. Like, you look at his dad, he's learned a few things from Ty, right? We've all seen what he did to Ryan Kessler a few years ago. 1-punch knockout, uppercut, right to the dome. So, but then again, like, it's preseason. So why are you getting so upset? The game means nothing. It means nothing. So why are you punching guys? Like, sure, Ekblad, I'm sure, was giving him the gears a little bit, giving him a few shoves and a few cross checks, and Domi didn't like that, obviously. But why punch him? Just cross check him. Don't get suspended. You're trying to develop chemistry with your line mates. You're in the preseason.
That's not the way to do it. Not in the press box.
We've gone through this with David Clarkson. Guy jumps off the bench to go fight whoever it was on the Sabres.
In the preseason.
Gets suspended for 10 games, starts the season off on the wrong foot.
Yikes.
Wrong foot or wrong hands? I don't know. Like,
wrong everything.
It was just a train, but I'm not saying that Domi's in for a train wreck of a season. All I'm saying is these games are vital in that you're trying to develop chemistry with your guys, with your line mates. Because the Habs are not in a good position right now. Their forward cores, if they have one, it's a forward blob. There's no core. It's just a blob.
Okay.
They're just playmakers. Drouin, playmaker. Domi, playmaker. Joel Armia, playmaker.
If only they had a guy who could score 30 goals in a season.
Weird. I wonder where he is.
Shoot the puck.
That's so weird.
He's in the form of, at this point, Thomas Tatar and a couple of draft picks. Max Pacioretty is the force who we're talking about. Traded to Vegas.
I gag at the thought of that. Unbelievable.
Whoops. And now who's going to be their captain? Shea Weber. He's not going to be there till December.
Not there till December. Like, Jeff Petrie could be. He could be. He's good. He's a good defenseman.
He's a good defenseman.
He's honestly a good defenseman. David Schlemko is okay. David Schlemko is okay. Jordy Ben's meh. But Carl Alsner sucks.
He got a solid contract, too.
Victor Mete, though, is going to be a good defenseman.
I think so, too.
Yeah. But they're wasting Carey Price.
And his big contract set in last year or this year? I think last year.
Either way, he's being paid
an 8-year, $84 million contract.
It's like $10.5 million per year, isn't it?
A little under 11 mil. Wow.
It's just a waste. Like, Carey Price is a genuine good goalie, but when you have when your only good forward is traded, well, Gallagher's okay, Drouin's okay, but they're just round pegs in a square hole. They're not in the right roles, because Drouin at this point is not. He's not in the right role. He's being played on the first line, which he shouldn't be. Gallagher is a middling first line winger. He's not supposed to be, but he is out of necessity. So when you get guys in the wrong roles, you're not going to get results. And with this team, it just doesn't make any sense. Are they rebuilding or are they going for the playoffs? Because
they shouldn't be going for the playoffs. Every team should go into the season.
Their forwards say no. Their defense says yes. Their goaltending says, hey, I'm kind of good, but you guys don't give me any goal support, so what's going on?
Carey Price can't get 27 shutouts in a season.
Or 82.
All right, well. Okay, one other thing I want to talk about the Canadiens. They had the third overall pick in the draft. They get Jesper Kotkaniemi. They passed up on Zadina and Brady Tkachuk, which a lot of people were questioning.
Passing up on Tkachuk is okay. He's got a safe floor, but no one knows what his ceiling is.
Right. What about Kotkaniemi? In the preseason, he's been solid. He's been promising.
Yeah, I've heard some good reports about Kotkaniemi. When I first heard about him, people said he's like a poor man's Anze Kopitar, which is...
I mean, when you get compared to Anze Kopitar, you're doing something right.
Yeah, but when you're a poor man's Anze Kopitar, it's kind of concerning, isn't it? It's just like, oh, he's a third overall pick.
He looks like he's hitting his third birthday.
I wasn't going to say it. I wasn't going to say that he does.
He looks like...
He's fresh out of the womb.
He looks like he's 13 years old.
Sopping wet.
Yeah. But yeah, so you passed on Philip Zadina. Good player. Promising player. I think he was a lock for third.
Well, did you hear what Zadina said after the draft?
I feel like
I'm going to fill their nets with pucks. That's what he said, word for word.
If you're a Montreal Canadian fan, you don't want to hear that.
No. Like, you kind of shiver a little bit. Like, oh, we're screwed.
Yeah.
But anyways, like, their forwards just scream that they're rebuilding. But then you look at the defense, and it shows that they want to be competitive. And then they have Carey Price, who is, at his best, a top 5 goalie in the NHL.
At his worst, top 6.
Like, which says something.
We've seen a bit of Carey Price's worst last season. He was not fantastic. But he was injured at points, and Montreal was not fantastic as a team. So,
well, it's just tough playing with that team in front of you.
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely.
There's no major difference maker other than Pacioretty. And Pacioretty had a bad year.
And he's gone now.
Yeah.
It's a mess for Montreal. But unfortunately, we will have to cut the Night Sports Show off for this evening. Promising first episode of the season. Next week, we will be talking about the NHL once again. We will be 4 days away next Sunday, and we'll be giving a fantasy update as we all have fantasy leagues happening. A fantasy player update happening next Sunday, September the 30th, 6 to 7 p.m.
A lot of fantasy.
Only on CRNT. Have a great night.
Bye.